Hi, folks. Just wanted to let everybody know that we've almost got everybody signed in, but that's what we're waiting on. Just getting everybody signed in.
Can y'all hear me? I don't think you guys can hear me. Tony's the 2936 number. We can add him to panelists. Tony, can you hear now?
I'm on. I can hear you, Jordan.
All right. Fantastic. Well, let's call the meeting to order at 5:07. I'm having low bandwidth issues, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera and try and run it just watching y'all, if that's okay. I'm having bandwidth issues, so. All right. Well, let's do a verbal roll call then. Amber, do you want to lead us through it if you've got it up in front of you?
Hey, Jamil's here.
Sounds like we got everybody.
Tony's on.
I could not get on through the WebEx, so I'm just calling in.
Well, thank you, Jamil and Tony, for being here. We need to do a quick roll call. How best to do this? I've forgotten how we did it last time. You guys just want me to go through it? I can't hear you, Amber.
I can see them and list them off if you'd like me to.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. Michael Rhodes.
Here.
Tony Stein.
I'm here.
Jamil Alam.
Here.
Alex Robinette.
Here.
Amy Rodnick. Here. Brian Nash.
I am present.
Jordan Scott.
Present.
And we have Sarah Griffin, City Attorney, also with us.
All right. Hello, Sarah, and welcome.
Hello. How is everyone?
Doing well. All right. Do we have any public comments for items that are not on our agenda today? If so, please signify by utilizing the raise your hand signal at the center and bottom of your screen. If you're on a computer, I don't know the number if you're on a phone.
If you're on a phone, press star and 2. And then don't forget, after we unmute you, you need to also unmute yourself, which is star 1.
All right. Do we have anybody indicating interest in speaking?
No, sir.
Okay, hearing none, we will conclude our public comments then at 5:10 and move into our consent agenda, which consists of our minutes from the previous meeting. Does anybody wish to pull the minutes from the consent agenda and discuss? All right, is there a motion to approve our minutes, or approve our consent agenda? Amy, I'm going to take your blinking as a motion. Would you like to verbalize that?
All right, I'll make a motion. We approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Tony will second.
All right. Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right. Let's take a vote by roll call then. Amber, why don't you lead us through in the same order as before? If
Tony
possible.
Stein,
Yes.
Michael Rhodes,
Yes.
Jamil Alam,
Yes.
Alex Robinette,
Yes.
Amy Rodnick,
Yes.
Brian Nash,
Yes.
and Jordan Scott.
Yes. All right, the minutes pass. Very good. Why don't we then move on to our next item, which is to open a public hearing at 5:12 regarding the plat at 603 Riley Road. Are there any comments from those in the public regarding this before we close public and go into regular meeting?
Jordan, at this time, would you like to hear from the applicant or do you want to wait?
I'm happy either way. If there are anybody besides the applicants that wishes to speak, this would be a great time for it first, and then that would give the applicants a chance to respond. Is there anyone?
There is nobody else in the audience beside the applicant.
It's just us. All right. This is a great time for the applicants to speak. We'd love to hear from y'all again. We had a nice comprehensive presentation last time, and we appreciate y'all being back. So love to hear from y'all. I just lost Barrett. Oh, is he there? Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you guys again for having me back. I'm happy to run back through the presentation that we provided last time, if that would be beneficial to any of the commissioners. There has been some subsequent dialogue between myself and the city. It sounds like some of the clarifications that were necessary from last time have been made. And I'm happy to pull up a copy of the plat and show it again if that would help anybody. But you know, the discrepancy in our past hearing was related to the orientation of the lot with the front door on Riley Road versus Timberline. And we can let staff speak as well, but I think that's been cleared up with the front door facing Riley Road.
And Mr. Lepore, remind me if I'm wrong, but that's the way it currently faces, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, if are there any questions for the applicant at this time? And y'all, we can ask them later. Actually, during public, we probably shouldn't ask them. We can close public and go into regular meeting. Does that sound good? All right, let's go ahead and close public at 5:15. Before we have any questions for the Lepores, why don't we, Carrie, do you mind kind of giving the city's 2 cents on it real quick? Like basically what we normally ask is, does this meet the requirements of the city for a legal plat in the city of Rollingwood?
Yes, it does. I would
All right.
recommend the motion to approve.
Okay, so it, per the city, meets their legal requirements and they're given a recommendation to approve. Are there any questions for the applicants or the city? If so, click the little hand icon, or Tony and Jamil, you may just call out or try to navigate through the *2, *1 thing. But any questions from anybody on the commission?
This is Brian Nash, Jordan. I have no questions for the applicant.
Okay.
I
Tony's
would
good
move-
too. I don't have any questions.
Would it, Jordan, would it make sense to go ahead and move to approve it? We could still have discussion afterward.
Happy to accept the motion, Amy.
I'll move we approve it.
Okay.
I
Is there a
second Amy's
second?
motion. This is Brian Nash. I second.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the plat?
It looks like everything's in order to me.
Agreed.
I think that's all the discussion we may need.
All right.
I think if they've dotted their i's and crossed their t's and city staff are happy, then they've done what they were expected to do.
I say you call the vote, Mr. Chairman.
All right. All in favor? Amber, can you lead us through a roll call, please? And
Sure.
signify
Tony
by saying
Stein?
yes or aye.
Aye.
Michael Rhodes, Michael,
He's
Hello?
muted.
Oh, I don't know. I'm having technical difficulties. Aye.
Alex,
Can you hear?
Aye.
Amy,
Yes.
Brian,
Aye.
Jordan,
Aye.
Jamil.
This is a critical vote, Jamil. Come on. Jamil, we need the unanimous vote.
Jamil is having issues right now connected. He said over I. He's having a hard time connecting with his audio.
I believe we have a representation by Ashley that he has texted an aye vote, Mr. Chairman. I think that should fit for legal purposes. Can we check with our city attorney on that?
Yeah, we're going to want to. Sarah, what are your thoughts?
I am happy to leave that to a consensus of the commission.
Okay. I think that counts. Everything's on the table at the time of the COVID.
I think that's a fair representation.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Yay, local government in the time of COVID. All right. Well, then we're going to go ahead and accept it as unanimous. Either way, it passes. So thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you to Commissioner Alleman Stein for bringing this to the attention of the commission and city staff. And I'm glad we got to a satisfactory conclusion on this plat. So thank you all for your hard work, for going back and taking a hard look at it, especially Carrie, thank you as well. And all right, that is done. Why don't we go ahead and move on to item number 4. An update on the status of the comprehensive plan. Amber, the floor is yours, or whoever's gonna do it.
I'm going to let Carrie take this.
Fantastic. Sorry, Carrie. Floor is yours.
All right. Well, Sean, I guess this should be reaching out to you. He has been reaching out to citizens to get some historical context on the city. He's going to move into starting to do presentations with planning and zoning and council and community outreach. There's going to be a citywide outreach. Currently, there is a poll posted on the city website. It's also posted on all of our social media channels, I believe. It's really important that everybody.
It's not posted on social media yet, but it will be tomorrow.
Okay. It's really important that everybody participate and get their voice heard. Please participate only once. Yeah, they're just right now they're gathering information, and basically what they're going to be looking at is a comprehensive view of all of the zoning regulations in the city of Oakwood. So, commercial district, sign ordinances, residential to some extent. You know, this is comprehensive. Obviously, our current residential area is landlocked and is not going to be expanding. So there's definitely no, they're not going to be changing that, but they will be looking at some of the ordinances that have been hot button items, you know, accessory dwellings, and just looking to put together a comprehensive plan that can be adopted that sort of sets the framework for going forward. This is really important. Almost every other city has a comprehensive plan. We've done, in a Rollingwood fashion, we've already done a lot of the steps that ordinarily would occur after a comprehensive plan had already been adopted. So we've done the IIP, we've adopted a park master plan. We had the retail coach study this last year. So all of those pieces are going to be taken into consideration with this comprehensive plan, utilizing all of the expert data that we've already gathered and using that to guide how we should be looking going forward.
Jordan, I might add that Sean is planning to finish up the first chapter, which he said, talks about why a comprehensive plan is necessary and what it means for our community. And he's going to present that chapter 1 at a work session for the city council, and would love to have planning and zoning attend and listen to the conversation and the presentation. It's going to be Tuesday, July 28th at 3:00.
I'll send an invite out to everyone as well, so it's easy to access.
I wanted to add something. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
I had a Zoom call with Sean and Kathy and David Smith, I think, last week. And I just wanted to say that I felt very optimistic about that group. I felt like they kind of bring the right kind of persona and tenor to this process. And I just really enjoyed visiting with them. And I think they're going to do a great job. I think that they were having trouble reaching other people, and they asked us to encourage everybody to visit with them because they're very open, and I think they really see the value in getting a lot of input from, different constituents and residents and so forth. So anyway, I think good things ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Robinette. I appreciate it. And look forward to my own chat with them tomorrow, I think. Yeah, I think the heads up for the Planning and Zoning Commission is that we had been in a holding pattern for a solid 6 to 8 months. We had been working with council since last year when we made the recommendation for a comprehensive plan. And as sometimes happens, things were slow and now they are speeding full speed ahead. So it's important for this commission and for the members of this commission, we've all been together now for a while. We're working well together. I think we've had an opportunity to hear from a lot of citizens over various topics, and so we have a semi-educated viewpoint on the way things are going. So I hope that everybody takes the time to speak with the commission and engages with this, first and foremost. That said, it can't just be a planning and zoning thing. It's got to be a city of Rollingwood and the citizens of Rollingwood and those who own and, live and work and own businesses in Rollingwood. So we appreciate your utilizing your personal networks and maybe a few favors to ask that we get as many people as possible to engage within this. In Rollingwood, sometimes when, there's no controversy. I was joking that we should have talked about the new police station and then baited and switched and had this become the topic. But this is as critical as the new police station. It's as critical as more critical than removing the electric motorcycles from our kids last year, the stuff that seems to get people to show up to meetings. This is critical for the next decade, the next generation really of Rollingwood and how we as people are going to engage within our city. You look back at the generation in front of us, and they made changes back in the 90s that we're seeing come to fruition today. And so this is truly a chance for the current residents to decide on the legacy we want to leave for 20 years from now. So we appreciate this commission's active participation and helping engage other people across Rollingwood that you think that would have an interesting viewpoint and could bring that viewpoint or are willing to share it. Any questions from the commission on this item, on the comprehensive plan, on what y'all can do to help?
Hey, Jordan, this is Jamil. Can I just make one more comment?
Please.
I've been through this in Austin, and I think along the lines of your comments, what happened in Austin is they passed a comprehensive plan, and while over time certainly people could pick apart certain things, I think the overall grand vision and intent of the plan was really solid. But then what happened after they passed the plan was, with every little thing, it became sort of this real, local NIMBY battle that ultimately got very political, partly because of single member districts, where the politicians weren't willing to have, in my opinion, have a backbone and support the intent of the comprehensive plan. And it's failed miserably, not because it was a bad plan, but because the politicians didn't support the plan. And so I guess this is really a comment for us, for city council, and for likely those that come 10 years from now who aren't listening. But I really think it's important, whatever the outcome is, that if we collectively want it to be successful, there are going to be some points in time where the collective we will be getting yelled and screamed at by people, and we just can't lose sight of the grander vision of the plan.
Wise words, Commissioner Allen. I appreciate them.
So I don't mean to be the next person to stand up on a soapbox after those two very eloquently described viewpoint. I just want to say that I kind of echo what both of you have just said. This is Brian Nash. I've been thinking a lot about our community plan, and especially with like the police station situation that came up, where you know, there was a lot of reaction to it. And I hope that we as a commission, you know, we're going to invest a lot of time into it. And I think that's great. And the city staff is obviously already investing a lot of time into it too. But I'll just say, I really hope that the community will recognize this for what it is and be involved and, you know, participate in these workshops and outreach opportunities that are being set up. Because what I really would hate is for us to put all this effort into this and then have people come and say, you know, a year or two down the road as we're trying to execute on this community plan, that, oh my gosh, where this is out of nowhere. We didn't have any notice of this and nobody told us. And I do recognize how hard it can feel when you're like feeling like things are happening without you getting a say so in it. And now it's kind of the opportunity for that say so. So I really hope the community engages. I know we're doing a lot to get the word out, and whatever we can do so that people can participate now and not have, I mean, I don't know that that'll stop people from complaining later, but I do want to make sure that our efforts are, you know, not for naught, so to speak. So I'll try and make sure I get it out to my network. And I know we've got things like Nextdoor and all that, but now is the time for people to speak up so that when it comes to execution, you know, I don't want people acting like that they were blindsided by it, because I think we're doing the right thing by coming up with a comprehensive plan.
I wanted to add to that. I didn't give you any of the details of the conversation that we had with Sean, but what you're saying, Brian, was actually what was forefront of both David and my mind about transparency with the community up front right away. And that, you know, a lot of people are a little bit shell-shocked about kind of recent events with the police station. So there's, you know, this has to be approached carefully, and but bringing the community into this conversation was not only something that they were already aware of, but that we reinforced. And that I know that Nextdoor is not considered, you know, an official channel, but we suggested doing something similar to that, because people like that online forum where they can debate ideas and hear what other people are thinking. And when you send a letter to the city, nobody really sees it. They don't really know how their neighbors view it. And obviously the neighbors are a pretty well educated and informed group, and everybody brings a different set of ideas and values and opinions. And it's really good to get all of that out there where people can see it and read it and think about it without sort of overreacting. You know, hopefully people will behave themselves and not get too crossways. But the other thing that we emphasized is that this is really an advantage to the community, to bring the community together, and it's not going to touch the residential district. In fact, it's going to be extremely thoughtful about how that, you know, those two barriers interact. So anyway, there's a lot of detail in there, and I encourage you to visit with Sean and share that before things get cranked up. But I think that they're really on it, and I feel very good about kind of how they presented themselves. It felt very authentic and not kind of slick and, you know, PowerPoint presentation sort of. It felt like they could really respond to our community in a meaningful way. So
I'd like to add that with this survey that they have developed, participating in this survey is the time to have influence of what you want. What elements do you see as being the elements you want to shape the future? This is the positive point, rather than not participating and then waiting till something gets presented and then picking apart issues. Now is the time to put forward your voice so that we have something that, you know, is representative of everybody. So it's really important that everybody participates in this. They did a really good job of incorporating questions from the IIP, questions with branding, zoning. So, and if anybody wants to review those documents, if you need a refresher on them, or if you haven't had a chance to read them, send me an email. I'll be happy to send you all of it. So you've got a data background on what they're looking at and working off of.
Well, thank everybody for their comments. They are certainly appreciated. Are there any additional comments regarding the state or the future of the comprehensive plan? All right, hearing none, why don't we move on to section 5 right before we adjourn, which is talking about future meeting dates and any agenda items. I will continue to encourage all the commissioners who wish to bring something to the agenda to, by all means, please reach out to city staff or myself, and we'll make sure to put it on. Guys, I didn't write it down in my notes. Are we planning on meeting in August, or are we gonna push to September? I don't recall.
Your regular meeting date is August 5th. We can, I know there was a, we had talked about last year and voted to try not to have as many meetings during the summer. But certainly if there's something that y'all want to add to the August 5th agenda, we can get that done. We shouldn't, at this point, have a plat. So we won't have any of that in our way. So it's if anybody wants to bring an issue up or if there's any progress on the comprehensive plan that we need y'all to make.
So
I think it would be good for us to bring the accessory dwelling thing back to P&Z to try to bring that to a head.
I wonder if that'll be addressed as part of this comprehensive plan, or it could be a derivative action out of it. Happy to talk about it, and we'd have a whole meeting next time.
I think there's an opportunity because we have spent some time on this, and I think there's an opportunity for us to sort of pave that path, as it were, because maybe we bring a lot more insight to it, the RAD team, that is. Yeah, I don't know how that threads with the comprehensive plan, but I would like to maybe make a recommendation to council soon so that they can vote on it, because I know that there's people that are waiting, they're kind of in a holding pattern to get their projects going until we give them some additional insight on this. So my recommendation would be to press on as a commission rather than waiting.
Fantastic. Well, why don't we go ahead? We have 2 commissioners who are interested, that's great. Let's go ahead and meet at our regularly scheduled first Wednesday of August. We're going to do it evening time to try and give everybody a chance to get done with work and participate, especially those who may have an interest or a say in this topic from the public. So we'll get together with staff. That right now is our only agenda item, and I'd love to have an hour to discuss it. We can create a book of a packet that will refresh some of the stuff from previous packets that we're able to put together. And Commissioner Robinette and Allen, and I forget who else was on the task force that we created. But if y'all want to bring more stuff in front of it, by all means. Any additional information you guys want for us to discuss or consider, let's get that stuff out. We'll get it in a packet and let's meet.
I think I was on the subgroup at one point. You don't need me, but I believe I volunteered.
I think
the
you're
other
in charge
one
of the
was-
comprehensive plan now.
Tony,
Tony.
Alex, and Jamil, I think, were at one point a subcommittee. Brian, you're welcome to join for sure. And so I think where we left off was we brought forward back in February 6 or 7 topics. There were, I think, 3 or 4 that people sort of generally gravitated around and supported. And so I think the next step really was for us to just sort of bring it back a little bit more refined and to narrow it to kind of the 3 or 4. And I think we'll be prepared to do that, by the notice deadline.
I think it's a great idea, and to have the chance to have a kind of single topic meeting would be welcome. We can spend our time on it. So I look forward to it.
Same. And I'm happy to help if I don't want to crowd out the party or anything, but I'd love to
Brian,
help
you're
with
gonna
this.
have you're gonna have your hands full designing and implementing the comprehensive plan on your own, I think.
I think there was a limit to 3 members or something. There's a rule. Amber looks like she
As well,
has
I-
more data.
Correct. We need to
With
keep
the
it to
3.
3 so we don't violate the Open Meetings Act.
So
Brian, you just got kicked
you
off.
Well, yeah, and Brian, you were part of a task force for the commercial corridor that I think got kind of consumed by a whole comprehensive plan for all of Rollingwood that includes the commercial corridor. So I still think that task force may have some topics to tackle coming out of the comprehensive plan. And I think we on planning and zoning will probably have a lot to talk about when it comes to our commercial corridor as well. So thank you for volunteering to lead that aspect of it when it comes time for planning and zoning, Brian. Appreciate you volunteering. All right. Any other further comments on this? On future meeting dates and agenda items? All right, well, we will tackle accessory dwelling or accessory buildings. Generally speaking, the next 6 months will be a lot of focus on this comprehensive plan. So we'll look forward to updates on those 2 in August. And by September, we should be back into our regular first Wednesday, 7 o'clock at night, if we can pull it off, meetings going forward. Any further questions on this topic? All right, why don't we have a motion to adjourn? Anybody want to make it? Mike, you want to make it?
So move.
All right. Who hadn't been on yet? Jamil, you want a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor by verbal vote, say aye.
Aye.
Tony, aye.
All right. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everybody's hard work on this stuff, and thank you for being here on a Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody. Everyone.
All right, y'all.
Thank you.
Everyone, enjoy the rest of your weeks.
Thank you. Good night, all.
Good night.